Hello, my name is Dr. Tina Opie, and I am recording a very short video, I hope, as a follow up to a TV segment I did today on WGBH's Greater Boston. And the segment I had the pleasure of being on with Christopher Myers of Myers and Chang, as well as Joe Malone, who is a former treasurer of the state of Massachusetts. The discussion was about whether or not, or sort of our reactions to Sarah Sanders being asked to leave the Red Hen restaurant in Lexington, Virginia. And I actually have mixed emotions about it. I do not think that it is a good move. I don't think that it will lead to the kind of discourse and action that I think our country needs. And I'll have to have another video to get into that. But I do think and am more interested in exploring with you all what we do when there's a tension between civility and justice. So, civil is about being courteous and respectful, polite, and justice is about fairness and equity and treating people consistently. And sometimes there is a tension between those two. There needn't be, but there often isn't. I just spoke with my mother, and my mother grew up in Pinehurst, Georgia. And if you're not familiar with Pinehurst, Georgia, it is a place where, when my mother was growing up, they were sharecroppers, and my mother picked cotton, and so did her siblings. Um, and mind you, my mother is 23 years older than me, and this was her upbringing. So when people say that this is far removed, this is a woman who raised me, who is still living, who can remember these instances. And the reason I bring that up is because the white people who forced my mother and her family members and other Black people like me to adhere to Jim Crow laws, they were often very civil and polite, especially to each other. And they were civil in the sense that wouldn't harm necessarily a Black person as long as they looked the right way or didn't look them in the eye, as long as they stepped off the sidewalk when a white person came by, as long as they swallowed their pride and self respect. So, civility is not necessarily the same thing and does not necessarily lead to justice. I'd also remind us, and by us I mean as a collective, people who live in the United States, were, that this country was not founded on civility. Would you say the Boston Tea Party was civil? Was the Revolutionary War civil? Was enslavement civil? So we call for civility oftentimes when we want to uphold existing norms. And I get it. I think I'm speaking in a very respectful way. However, I hope that this conversation leads to deeper discussion and thought about what it means to be civil, especially when there is a potential conflict with justice. Would love to hear your thoughts, just a few ground rules. I'm not a YouTuber, but one of the things that I would love to see is that we actively disagree with each other. I think that's a skill. We can disagree with ideas, but not with people's identity. So it's one thing for you to say, Tina, I don't think that civility should ever be in conflict with justice. Here's why. It's another thing for you to say, you sound like a liberal Democrat and I don't want to hear what you're saying. Whatever. Address the idea, not the person. The third thing, please, is no profanity. I do not curse and I prefer not to have it on the YouTube. But anyway, with those three ground rules, I look forward to your conversation. Thank you. Bye bye.